Jaron Boots Ennis, is he going to get that shot against Terence Crawford? I personally don't think it's going to happen, guys. We've heard Bomac, Terence Crawford, the pound for pound #1. His trainer has been saying, you know, Boots doesn't deserve it. We have nothing to gain from Boots. And honestly, I can't complain about that, because honestly, like, Terence Crawford's now in the position that Manny Pacquiao once was, and Terence Crawford's doing what happened to him. You know, Manny didn't want to give Terence, you know, that shot because he wanted that rematch with Floyd. He wanted to fight Keith Thurman, who had a belt at the time. He wanted to fight, you know, with guys like Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. Didn't get that fight, but he got the Keith Thurman fight where, you know, in 2019, at the age of, you know, over 40 years old, he was able to beat a relatively prime Keith Thurman. So I would argue that, you know, Terence Crawford's doing what he's supposed to do right now. Not to say that you're not supposed to give the best fights in the world, but you also have to remember, is the juice worth the squeeze? It's a very difficult fight for Terence Crawford to take, and I don't think that, you know, it'll sell as much as people are thinking. Within the boxing world, I think we're all excited, you know, for a potential matchup between Terence Bud Crawford and Jaron Boots Ennis. But realistically, we know that the Spence fight went the way it did. We thought that there would be a rematch, but now we're seeing Mauricio Suleiman, you know, the president, just talking about how, you know, to his understanding, Terence Crawford has no intention of going through with the rematch because of, you know, whatever complications there may be within the negotiations. And I'm not mad at it. I've said on this channel on multiple occasions that I don't care about the rematch with Errol Spence Jr. I think I saw enough. Was Errol Spence depleted? Did he have a rib injury? Maybe. You know, we're hearing that's the word. But bottom line is, you know, no fighter goes into this sport with a rough training camp and comes out 100% on fight night. That's just a very rare occasion. I think Terence Crawford was just the better man that night, and we have to give him his credit. We have to give him his just due and give him his flowers. We have to appreciate the greatness that we saw on that night. You know, it was such a long-awaited fight, 3 or 4 year fight in the making, and they were able to get it done just by, you know, good old-fashioned, you know, cell phone conversation. And I think that paved the way for a lot of guys. Now you hear guys like Teofimo Lopez reaching out to guys like Devin Haney via phone call to try to make these big fights happen. But I just don't know if Jaron Boots Ennis is that guy in terms of, you know, can he sell pay-per-views? You know, bottom line, a lot of people like to say that it's about the best fighting the best. It is about that, I would agree, but it's also about, you know, money. What can Boots bring to the table that Terence Crawford would gain from? That's what boxing entails. When you're a shot caller, you can't just fight anybody. You know, there are a lot of talented fighters that you could fight. There are a lot of talented fighters in the welterweight division that aren't even ranked that could give Terence Crawford a good fight, and that's actually true. That's facts. But at the end of the day, there's not much to gain. You could even talk about Virgil Ortiz fighting Terence Crawford at 154. That's an exciting fight. Virgil's a young gun. He's been a little bit inactive, but I'm sure he'd jump at the opportunity. But guess what? As popular as Virgil is, it's not a big money fight yet for Terence Crawford. Not like an option like Canelo Alvarez is for Terence, and that's why Terence, in my opinion, that's why I think Terence Crawford has been pushing for the Canelo Alvarez fight, because at this point he's worked so hard. He's been on the receiving end of so many, you know, rejected fights, so many fallen through negotiations. He tried to fight Keith Thurman, wanted to fight Danny Garcia. Now that you know, Terence Crawford's the top dog at 147, all these guys want a shot now, but it doesn't work like that. It's the way that the tables turn, and now Terence Crawford's that shot caller. So now, I'm not saying that he shouldn't fight Boots. I'm just saying I understand the business aspect of not fighting Jaron Ennis, because it's a lot of risk for little to no reward. You know, you beat a top prospect at 47. He's well established. I'm not saying that he's a prospect, like he hasn't proven himself yet, but at the end of the day, we haven't really seen him against a guy of Terence Crawford's caliber, and that's difficult to find because his talent's like second to none. But you gotta go, maybe if he fights Errol Spence Jr., gets that fight, that could be a fight for Spence. Now that he lost to Terence Crawford, maybe fight Boots. That makes more sense. And then you beat Spence, and then maybe you could get yourself in and talk yourself into a Terence Crawford fight. But as Terence Crawford approaches, you know, 37, 38 years old, close to 40, I think that there's very few fights that he's willing to take. I think he only wants big money fights that the fans are gonna doubt him for. I think Teofimo Lopez is a more attractive fight for Terence Crawford than Jaron Boots Ennis is, because in terms of risk, there's not as much risk. Teofimo's a great fighter, but I think that in terms of weight, you know, Boots would give him a bigger run for his money, and Teo's even said that. He said that Boots could probably beat Terence Crawford. So for Teo and Terence Crawford to fight, I think it goes Canelo. For me, I would rather see Canelo and Terence and Teo, and then Boots, because realistically, I don't see Boots, you know, getting the shot because he's not as popular as Tio is. He's not as popular as Canelo is, for sure. So it makes all the sense of the world for Terence Crawford to be calling out a guy like Canelo Alvarez, because there's more to gain. If he beats a guy like Canelo, gets his name on his resume, you know, you could say that you beat one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world, probably the best Mexican fighter of all time in a lot of people's eyes. You beat that guy as Terence Crawford. How are you not pound for pound #1 in the world? You know, going up in weight, you know, taking all the risk. Everybody's saying there's weight classes for a reason. You know, Terence Crawford saying forget all that. I'm down to go up to, you know, 68 and make that fight happen, because he knows the financial outcome, the financial reward that comes along with fighting the literal cash cow of the sport in Canelo Alvarez, as opposed to fighting Boots, where there's a lot of risk. It's a winnable fight for Terence Crawford, but it's a very threatening fight. But for what? Not as much money as fighting Canelo, so obviously he's going to call out Canelo. I think that Teofimo Lopez is a more realistic opponent for Terence Crawford than Boots is, honestly, because that's a bigger money fight for him, and it's probably, you know, in Terence Crawford's eyes, he probably thinks it's an easier fight than Boots. So I do think that Tio's a more realistic opponent for Bud than, you know, Boots is. I really do. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Terence Crawford apparently moving on from the Spence rematch. What should he do next? Should he give Boots this opportunity, or should he go fight Canelo, go fight Charlo, or maybe even Teofimo Lopez? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. That's going to do it for another NASFight Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.